All right, the purpose of today's video is to talk about some issues related to notation. The exercise we worked on a pretest, you're given values for x and you're given an equation, and what you need to do is substitute these values into x, here and here, and determine the value of y that goes with it. The issue is, many of you, when you did this work, you didn't write anything down, or what you did write down was just all scribbly. I want to talk to you about the correct way to show your work here, and the primary reason for showing your work the correct way, besides the fact that it's just the right way to communicate, is if you do make mistakes, which many of you did here and even here to some extent, if you do make mistakes and you show your work the way I'm asking you to, I'll be able to instantly communicate with you where you made the mistake. But if you don't, then I can't understand your thinking, and therefore your communication is not where it should be. So please follow these rules anytime you're asked to substitute a value into a variable, and so here you go. For the first one, I write x equals -2 because what's going to follow under this line is all the work where I find y when x is -2. So here's the substitution. At this point I'll point out that I didn't do anything to the value of -2, I just put -2 where x used to be. Notice the parentheses, that's a requirement all the time. So two things I want to see. Y equals should be part of your statement. It's a complete sentence. The value of y is the following. Secondly, parentheses, non-negotiable. Anytime there used to be a variable and now there's a number, put parentheses around it. So now I can see that used to be an x squared and that used to be an x. The rest is just arithmetic and it's no problem on the first one. So when x equals 0, same deal. Now here, I am fully aware that most of you are capable of doing this work in your head, but that doesn't change the fact that you're trying to communicate what's going on in your head. So as we substitute in 0, we end up with a simplified 0 divided by -5. Now if you leave your result like this, that's not acceptable. It's what you call a cop-out, because people can't remember whether this should be 0 or undefined or what it should be, so they just leave it as if, just do what you want. If you write y equals 0, then you're saying, I understand that 0 broken into 5 equal parts is still 0. For 2/3, now you can start to see the importance of good notation. When x equals 2/3, we end up with an expression that is rather complicated, even for an Algebra 2 class. So I have to get this all cleaned up. What doesn't change, though, is A, we use the parentheses, B, we start with y equals, and now we're going to carry down the equals to the next line and evaluate each stage. So 2/3 squared is 4/9, and 2/3 minus 5 is -4 1/3. And then the next step, I move down the page, not across, and I make those fractions improper. In the next step, I multiply by the reciprocal and do some reduction and finally get the final quotient. So here, there's a lot of steps involved, and if you follow this format, we're going to get along just fine. If not, it's going to be a struggle and you're going to be affecting your grades there. So lastly, x equals 5. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this too. You got 25 divided by 0 here, and then you got 0 divided by -5 here. They're two different questions. In order to understand the answers to these questions without memorizing it, we need to understand what division is. So this takes 0 and divides it into 5 separate groups. Each group, which still exists, contains 0 items. This, on the other hand, says there's 25 items, and I want to divide them into 0 separate groups. How many does each group have? Well, I can't even answer that question because there are no groups to have anything. So this is an undefined expression. All right, so anyway, just make sure you follow these guidelines as you do your work. Neatness, organization, but the big ideas here are complete sentences, y equals, carry down the equal sign, and substitute anything into a variable with parentheses. Those are the three biggies. So thanks for watching.